Well, people, another day, another Friday to be more specific, and I'm here with, of course, my good buddy Victor.
Yes, Patricia.
And here we are. So today's topic is, well, we're going to start out with money and then lottery. And so the first thing I notice is Victor, you got a lottery ticket in your pocket. What lottery ticket is that for?
Max.
Max, yeah. You play that every week, don't you?
I try anyway.
You try? When was
The
last-
bigger ones.
The bigger ones. So what's this one worth today?
I think it's supposed to be only 10, but the 649 will be 20 somewhere in there.
Oh, so it's only 10 million.
Yeah, well,
Oh, only.
those guys are real loons. They start out with this whole advertising campaign, even naming it the Max. It's supposed to be a huge one. Then after the first round, where it finally reaches 50 million, and then they start over again, they only go to 5 instead of measly 10, 20, 50 like it should be. They start at 5. What? I don't know.
See, I kind of think, lottery tickets are a bit of a scam. How many
This
people
one-
buy a lottery ticket? How many people spend, easily $10 every week, let's say, on lottery tickets, right? They have, what, 1 million people playing? Yeah, really? Is it anything for them to give out a jackpot of a few million? No, it doesn't mean anything. Because not even...
It's their expenses.
Well, everyone doesn't even win every week. Like, Victor, how much have you won so far?
I can't actually add up the total, but the largest I ever was 10 years ago, 164. On the average, 10, 5, 2, the free plays, that kind of thing. But
Yeah?
it takes a long time in between usually.
Yeah, so in other words, you've probably spent a few $1,000s to win roughly
I won't say I've
$200?
gone that far,
Oh,
but
come on now.
but since at least whatever was it in the early 70s when they started for the Olympic thing, there probably a few thousand in total by now. Then
Yeah. Well, Boo Boo, if you're watching, Boo Boo's my grandmother. So my grandmother, she buys a lottery ticket every week, and I don't think she's ever won once.
Not even the free plays.
Maybe a free play, but that's not really winning.
Either that or she's not telling anyone.
No, that's true. That's true. She could be rich. Boo Boo, are you rich? Anyway, so yeah, absolutely. It's funny. Lotteries sure do change people when you win the lottery. You hear about factory workers or office people, and every single week what they'll do is they'll pitch in a whole bunch of money, and they'll all pool and get more, what is it, more numbers, more lines?
Yeah.
And, then they're all trying to split $1 million. They all end up with 74 cents, and they're all at each other's throats.
Or the court cases because somebody didn't pay up his particular week thinger. Yeah. Wasn't that Calgary guy sometime in the last year or so where he actually went to court because he didn't think he would pay for that week, and then when they won there, they excluded him, and then finally the whole rest of them dropped out after enough fighting in court that he got the whole thing anyway without even paying for the ticket.
And you know what? There comes a point in time where that happens, where you just got to say, you know what? Take the money. Money is sure important. Yeah,
Yes,
I'd like
definitely.
to. One of you, anyone out there who doesn't pay to live, well, you're certainly not watching this video.
But all you ever do is hear people say that money isn't everything. If it isn't, it's at least 99%. That's okay. That at least makes sense. But
You see, because for me, okay, money, yes, money is important. I don't have to be the richest guy in the world, but I do have to have money, and I just want to be comfortable. For me...
you can always be comfortable with more than with less, though.
Well, yes, but, when with more comes usually more problems. More money you make, the more bills you pay. That's typically the way it goes. So you're not actually making more money.
It's not so much that you're paying more bills, it's that you're expanding your range of spending, but that has nothing to do with the actual problems. The problems have always been there, but you just never had any reason for them to show up as easily. Once you get that money, okay, now... it seems like your whole self-control is just shot just by the very, I guess it would be the mental shock of having that money, that now you're ready to do the things that you always were going to do if you could have and just didn't get the chance to. And it was always there. But people keep saying that it changed them. It didn't change them so much as it changed the circumstances where their own natural inclination could now actually take place. That's really what I see it as, but other people will say, well, no, it actually did change it, but I think there may be other things involved that they don't really tell you about, that may be the real culprits in the whole thing. It's not just winning the money, but possibly the constant haranguing. Well, if you can't take the haranguing, then how did you handle it with where the bill payers are always, or the bill guys are coming around asking you for bills, whatever, if you couldn't pay? Either way, you're still just as harangued. If you can take one, why shouldn't you take the other? I mean, having people coming asking you for money because they suddenly find out that you've got 50 million or whatever, well, I wouldn't have any problem with it at all. Get lots of attack dogs, get my guns, a big fence, make sure, big deal, you know. Have your phone say, if you're calling for money, drop dead. Have fun with it. Don't just get into this tense kind of thing where you're going to be an adversary all the time. Live the moment to the fullest. That's what the money's for. It can now, you can now afford to pay for being as a biggest bitch on earth. You know, Donald Trump doesn't have any problem with that at all, and he doesn't mind people thinking he's a bitch because he knows he's a bitch, and he just lives it to the fullest. That's why his shows are about those different.
You're fired.
Apprentice things are all the time. He's showing that
You're fired.
to be a rich person, you have to be a bitch, according to him, anyway. Now, they do say that, what's his name from the Microsoft? I've forgotten his name.
Bill Gates.
Bill Gates, that he is a very different personality, but that may be more for shows than actuality. We'll never know unless we're the close inner circle, but everything I've heard of him shows that he has a very different personality, so he doesn't seem to have quite the same behavior with his money, with his attitude towards other people as they're coming around him, sniffing, you know, can we get something like that? He's got his foundation, what was it, some 10 billion or whatever it was he stuck in it with fairly recently there. I don't know. I don't think I would ever be even near that generous with it. I'd keep it for myself because I've spent too many years trying to get money to actually want to give it to anyone else, unless I could actually find a real reason what I would want to do that, some real sympathy or something that, but not too much. I'd have to really look hard for that.
Well, you know, interesting thing. I was watching Judge Judy once. Big Judge Judy fan, right? I think she's pretty kick-ass. Anyway, so she was talking about lending money to people. The whole court case was about the fact that this person had lent money to another person, and this person was extremely upset that they didn't get the money back. And, you know, so they went after this person, and they said, you know, I just want my money back. And the person says to them, oh, I'm in a bad situation. My husband this, my kids are this. I can't afford to do this. And the judge finally said, you acted in the right. You were trying to help someone out by giving the money. Your mistake was that you expected it back. Because the moment you expect the money back, you are the bad guy all of a sudden. So, I mean, you know, because all of a sudden they're so in love with you, they're so happy with you when you're giving them the money. But then all of a sudden, when you want the money that you lent them back, you're the bad guy because, you know, all they can think about is how, oh, they're better off than me. They were able to lend me the money. They're in a much better situation. Why are they coming after me to get the money back? Oh, wait, that's right. You borrowed them the money.
Yeah. No, but there is that old philosophical thing that if you're actually going to be stupid enough to lend, don't expect to get it back, because at least that way you'll save one disappointment.
Yeah, no, that's 100% true.
Because really, first of all, you should actually be able to afford to lend people money. If you can't afford it, no matter how much the other person may need it, don't be to that point that you're actually going to be stupid enough to give them the money in the first place if you need it. But if you can afford it, and if you are going to be giving it to them at all, at least have enough sense to realize they may not be able to give it back to you when you actually demand it, or even in your lifetime. So the hell with it, let it go. And if you get it back, nice surprise. That's all that counts, really. But lending and borrowing are very different principles. Lenders should always have the caveat that there's a chance they're never going to get it back. Look at all the banks that have all those write-offs, the loans to Mexico and every other place there, 500 billion. They won't do that for us because we're not Mexico borrowing 500 billion, but they will write off that amount. But they'll gladly take you to court for $100. So it's a very different kind of world for the lenders and the borrowers. And another saying is that if you can't afford to borrow, then you shouldn't be borrowing, because even if you have the money in the first place. The only real purpose for borrowing money should be to extend your purchase power, but not necessarily because you're absolutely in need.
Okay, and on to part 2. All you have to do is click that link. Yep, just gonna keep sitting there. Click it, click it.